Okay. You should hear me in Wirecast. You see the bars jumping up and down? Then you need to go to here. Click on me. Click here. Here. Click monitor. Testing 1, 2. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our live streaming Ask Me Anything session. We're not sure exactly if there's going to be a lot of questions or how many people will be logging in today. We sent this out to those of you who had expressed some interest in our live streaming ebook and how to get a live streaming set up for a low budget at your school or your educational institution. We found that a lot of people really liked that book and were reading it and downloading it. So if you have already checked that out, feel free to do that. You can also head over and get it from our website at telestream.net. My name is Andrew Haley. I am the live streaming product evangelist, also for our Wirecast and ScreenFlow software here at Telestream. We make a variety of different software products, but the ones that I specifically focus on are the ones used by schools and many from K-12 to higher ed for live streaming video or educational content, whether it's from the sports field or it's in the classroom. Sometimes they're just using it for special events like graduation ceremonies or upcoming holiday concerts, things like that. So this technology is as versatile and applicable to whatever type of activity you want to apply it to at your particular location or in your classroom or at your school, as many different ways as you might want to use it. So we try to fit all shapes and all sizes of live streaming into our product. It can do a lot of different things. And one of the things that I've tried to do over the last year or so of doing this job is to bring people along that may not have a lot of experience doing this. Some of this type stuff, particularly streaming live video on the internet, can seem a little intimidating, a little complex. So my job is to try to make it as easy and straightforward as possible for you. So to that end, we want to create resources like the ebook and like this broadcast to help you get started live streaming whatever it is that you want for your school or your students or your classroom or at your education sites. So we found that a lot of schools have already started adapting and adopting this technology in their own. Back in the last 20, 30 years when cable networks and cable TV was coming up into its own, a lot of schools installed closed cable networks or had closed loop cable systems would tie all their televisions in their classrooms together so that they could do broadcasts internally, or the principal could make an announcement, or students could run a little broadcast show. And that trend has continued to today, but now that technology is a little bit older and isn't as useful, or it's hard to use and it's out of date and it's a little clunky, and schools are beginning to modernize with internet and internal broadcasts over their internal IP networks. Sometimes schools will broadcast them out to sites like Facebook or YouTube, which we're broadcasting on right now. So there's a lot of advantages to being able to broadcast your content wherever you want, particularly over the internet or over your IP network. But of course, there's challenges with that, and with that new type of infrastructure comes a new set of knowledge that's needed. The nice thing about it is a lot of the same principles still apply. Good audio, good video, and clarity of message are all important. And then, of course, having a supportive group of people to help you pull it off. So here I work with a close team of other Telestream employees, and we work together to bring you content like this, but I wouldn't be able to do it without their support and their help. You can, of course, do things on your own, but whenever you're broadcasting from an organization like a company or a school, you really need the buy-in and the assistance of other people that you work with and that are in that community or that organization. So that really, I think, is one of the first steps to getting a successful live streaming program, is identify the person or people that are going to be helping you to pull this off. Now, it might just be you on your own, and that can be done. It's just you need to set the scale or the limits of what you might be able to accomplish. But you'd be surprised at what's possible if you just have a video camera and a computer and a decent internet connection, and you can get quite a bit done just on your own, and many people do it that way and then gain the interest of others as they get further down the path. So, hi, Lynn. Thanks for watching. I don't know who else is tuned in yet. If you are watching, if you're interested in this, please type in the chat. We have a live chat here on the YouTube page. You're welcome to participate. I'll take your questions if you have any. My goal really is just to spend some time here, maybe going over a few of the necessary ingredients to a live stream or to implementing a live streaming program at your school. I was a former teacher and even a broadcast teacher at a middle school here in Nevada City in Grass Valley in Northern California. And so I bring some of that experience to this job, and it's actually really helped me identify some of the key challenges and technical obstacles, as well as just the organizational obstacles to getting live streaming going. And at my former school, we had the buy-in of the principal and the administration were very behind the live broadcasting program, and we built it up with our students. We also had a track record where over the last few years they'd been doing broadcasts over the cable network. So the school was used to doing things this way. So it was kind of a natural step to then start doing everything instead of on this old clunky video switcher into the cable system, to start bringing it into the computer and using software like our Wirecast production software to help the students start mixing their live broadcasts. And there was definitely some challenges involved, but it was a lot of fun. And what's nice about this is the school now has total control over that content. They can post it on their website for parents. They can post it on YouTube or make highlights videos and things like that. So it's been a lot of fun. Tom, welcome. Hi, Tom. The picture freezes when you use live chat. I didn't know that. That's something that's unfortunate. Hopefully by the time you type your question and then maybe click back or refresh the page, you'll get back on to the topic of the conversation. We're streaming at 1080p, but hopefully you might want to set your settings to bring you a lower quality. Maybe choose an auto quality, something like 480 on the YouTube settings. In fact, I can show you that on my screen. Let me pull up my screen real fast, and I'll show you what I'm seeing. And you'll see, I can see the YouTube page here, and that's me probably about 10 seconds from now. And what you can do is click on the settings wheel right here, and you can change the size to something like a 480 or something like that. So choose a low quality setting, and hopefully you'll be able to both stream and chat at the same time. All right, so hopefully that solves your question. Perfect, Tom. That's exactly what you want to do. You want to drop the speed. So that actually is a really good topic of conversation, is internet speed. One thing that's really critical to online broadcasting is your internet connection, obviously. So most people that have internet connections, most schools, are really concerned with the download speed. And that is very important, especially if you have a lot of students or teachers on the network trying to access video or information from outside. However, if you are broadcasting, you really want to make sure you also have a decent upload speed. Your upload is really where the broadcasts like this start. You need to have a decent internet connection to push your video out. Now, for HD video, which is what we're streaming, I recommend at least a 5 megabit per second upload connection. That generally gets you a nice HD quality video stream. If you don't have, or your school doesn't have, a 4 to 5 megabits per second upload speed, then you could, of course, lower the quality of the video. It could be a standard definition, which is about a quarter of the size of an HD broadcast. And proportionately, it's about a quarter less data that needs to be sent. So you could get away with a smaller smaller quality setting on a lower internet connection. So it's certainly possible to use what you have if you can't get an upgraded internet or you're too far from a major, city, or the companies in your area can't provide you a super fast connection, or it's unreasonably expensive, then perhaps you just want to start with a standard definition broadcast. Now, if you are streaming and you're just streaming inside your school, you can use the school's internal network to stream just over the network. It doesn't go out to a site like YouTube. It doesn't go out so the general world can see it, or your people outside of the school can see it. But you could, of course, stream much higher and then record that and upload those videos later. But for as far as anyone on school or connected to the school network is concerned, you would be streaming live. So that's one possibility as well. And some schools prefer that just for privacy, or just to lower the exposure to the outside world as far as live video content. One thing that's really important is if you have students who are streaming live out to the internet or out to the world, is that you are very careful with them as to what's appropriate and what's not. Some older students or teenagers in high school programs may need some some guidance, and really you need to build a trust contract with them, where they know what's expected and what the rules are and the privileges that they would lose if they violated that trust contract. So some schools I've talked to, they don't formally censor the students, but they do talk very specifically and say, if you violate these expectations, then chances are you won't be invited back to be on the broadcasting team or the broadcasting program. So we have lots more questions, and I just want to say hi to people who are logging in. So I don't know how to say your name, so I apologize. Hero Aguilar, welcome. Marissa, welcome. And of course, Tom and Curtis. So hi, you guys. I'm just going to take your questions in order, and we'll start there. So Hero, and again, I apologize if I'm butchering your name. If you want to type it out phonetically, please do. Will Facebook ever change the live stream interface to fit full screen on mobile device phones? I would imagine yes. In fact, I've been able to rotate my phone and see a live stream pretty much full screen on my phone already. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's not only on all devices soon or just on some devices, but I've already seen that happen. So I think you'll hopefully get that soon. Facebook's live streaming is less adapted than YouTube's at this time. YouTube is a little further ahead in terms of the amount of quality and sizes that they can stream out, and they have, so we can stream them at 1080, and you can get everything down to like a 240. Whereas with Facebook, I think you can only stream up to 720 on their network right now, which is fine. That's a really nice quality and works for most people. In fact, 1080 is usually a bit more unusual. And then the adaptive technology in the back that Facebook can do can adapt it down as well. But I would say you'll probably get a wider variety of quality with Facebook at this time, and you'll also get probably a little more adaptability on mobiles and other devices, because YouTube's just been doing it a lot longer than Facebook has. All right, so Marissa, hi. Green screen. A green screen background with Wirecast. It absolutely is. That's what we're doing right now. This is not a poster behind me. This is actually a green screen. So I can actually show you on my screen how you do that in Wirecast. For those of you who haven't already tried Wirecast or are interested in Wirecast but haven't actually taken the plunge yet, it's free to download at telestream.net. So I highly encourage, if you have a Mac or a Windows computer, either one, it's both, works on Windows and Mac, you can just download it and start playing around with it. And everything I'm about to show you, you can do with the free version. The only thing that is limited in the free version is you get a watermark that comes on the screen every 30 seconds or so. So it's not that useful for actual live broadcasts like this, because it would just get too annoying for the audience. But for your practicing, it's perfect. And you can learn the program and see what you can do with it. So why don't we jump in? I'll show you on my screen real fast, Marissa, how to add a camera with a green background and then chroma key that out. So we'll hit continue. I'm just going to open Wirecast. So this is the Wirecast software. It's just the main user interface. And the way it typically works is you have two windows. You've got the preview on the left, which is only for you, only you can see that, and the live broadcast area, which is what your audience can see. So you can use the left, the preview area, to prepare shots before you take them live for your audience. It's just a switching or mixer system. It's just standard in live video to be able to kind of have something off screen where you can prepare things before you send it or take it live for your audience. So here we just have some layers where I can add my cameras or shots or video clips, images, whatever, audio, everything gets added down here in this list. This is called the shot list. And I think I'm just want to make sure you can all see that okay. And here we've actually already added a shot, so you can add your own cameras or whatever to it. You could use, of course, add other shots, but this one's ready. It's blank. There's nothing in it. And we can add a shot just by clicking up here on the layers to the shot. This new shot has nothing in it, so we need to add something in it. We're going to add a capture device. This is just a little card that I've plugged my camera into, which converts the camera into USB 3. But if you had a webcam, you had your built-in eyesight, if you have like a laptop or anything with a built-in webcam, it would appear on this list as well. So I'm just using this card. It's called an Magewell XI100 USB HDMI card, and it just converts HDMI to USB, and that brings in my camera here. So it's the same camera you're seeing me on. It's just this one in Wirecast doesn't have any chroma key filter applied to it. So we just would do that up here in Wirecast. It's very easy, making sure whatever shot we want to edit, we select it, and then we can go into this handy chroma key properties tab, which is, it looks like a little person up here in the left. Click on that, and you actually will see a simple checkbox that just says use chroma key. And by default, the green will disappear, leaving the person on screen. So Wirecast, the software, knows to anything that has that green value to make it disappear and make it transparent. Now we can put something behind me like a weather map or my content or slides or anything. So it's a really good tool to use for educational content. Green screen really makes it more interactive. So hopefully that answers your question, Marissa. All right, Tom. If you could stream to Facebook via RTMP, can you stream 16:9, just not using your mobile? Yes, you can stream. So if I'm understanding you correctly, Wirecast can absolutely stream in 16:9 to Facebook, whereas with your mobile phone app, which is, if you use, say, the Facebook app on your phone, then it's going to stream in a square format. So that's one of the advantages of using software like Wirecast to stream to Facebook or any other destination, is you have much more control over the size and the aspect ratio of the content that you're streaming. So you get a nice widescreen stream like this. Sorry, you were answering someone else. Let's see, Curtis, do you know any issues with Titler for Wirecast? For example, removing watermarks? Do I know of any issues with Titler? I'm not sure I understand that question, Curtis. Could you maybe elaborate on that? I don't know of any issues off the top of my head with Titler for Wirecast. Titler for Wirecast is a if you're talking about New Blue's live titler, we actually have that here. We work with a company called New Blue Effects, and it makes a product. They make a product called Titler Live, which comes in a variety of different versions. Some more powerful than others, but the free version that comes with Wirecast 7 is called Titler Live Express, and it allows you to add live animated graphics and titles to your broadcast. So I can just add any source here. We'll just pop up Titler Live, the software itself. It'll load here. And you can see we could easily go into their library of graphics or titles, and these, can come right on the screen. You can see we'll just get an animated. I'm actually just going to do a lower third here as the best example. So you can see they'll just come right on the screen like that. So we can drag that down and add it here. And I'm not even going to, of course we can add a logo or change the name and so forth, but I'm not going to do that here. We're just going to go there and click back, hit OK. And if we add that shot in, you'll see if we take it live, it animates right on. And whenever we want to take it off, go back, it'll animate right out. We could even throw this on an upper layer in Wirecast. This is what's nice about Wirecast, is you can stack things vertically. So now it can appear right on top of me, and I'm still in the background, because now both the shot, this one on layer 2 and this one on layer 3, are stacked, and they're because it's just a lower third, it's not taking up the whole screen. You can see whatever's below it on the layers. So just like a cake or Photoshop, they just stack from top to bottom. So that's on top, so we can take it right on the screen and it'll animate on, and we can take it right off and it'll animate off. So that is Live Tiler. So if you know of had any other questions about issues with that, please feel free to ask that. Okay, Tom, well, that's good to know, Tom. I'm glad to have another live streaming expert in the chat here to help me answer questions. Hero, you're welcome. I'm glad that response was helpful. What Wi-Fi modems would you recommend to carry a strong internet signal? I'm not an expert on Wi-Fi modems, so I think there's a lot of good ones out there. The ones that I typically use are either the Apple Airport Expresses or Airport Extremes, so the Apple wireless ones I've always liked. But I know that if you're in a stronger setting, you might want something a little more powerful. And Cisco, and there's a variety of companies out there like Cisco that make very strong Wi-Fi transmitters, and so you could certainly look up some of those. There's a bunch of them out there. You can also talk to IT specialists who might specialize. I know in the IT field, that has been a really big deal for the last 15 years or more, is retrofitting schools and large buildings or companies to have strong Wi-Fi in the whole facility. And so I think anyone who's worked in the IT field for any length of time in the last decade is probably going to be very familiar with the advantages and the downsides of different types of Wi-Fi hotspot devices or Wi-Fi modems and so forth. Modems, routers, that's what I meant. So yeah, I'm not an IT expert, but I'm sure there's plenty out there that could help you. So this one also, Marissa, you have another question here. No problem, Curtis. Tom, glad you're enjoying Wirecast. And Marissa, is it possible to broadcast on Facebook Live and YouTube Live at the same time? So Facebook has guidelines that request that if you're streaming live on Facebook, that you don't stream to any other site at the same time simultaneously. You are allowed to, so in that sense, in Wirecast, we do not allow you to, say, add the YouTube destination and the Facebook destination and stream to both simultaneously. But you are allowed to add additional generic RTMP destinations. For example, if you want to stream to your own private server or configure Wirecast to stream just through the generic RTMP. So in that sense, you can stream to Facebook and another destination, but you need to know what you're doing and you need to configure it for your, through the generic destination. But if you want to take advantage of the built-in API configurations and integrations with other companies, that's not possible if you're streaming to Facebook. Yes, you can use Wowza, absolutely. Yeah, you'll need to, so Curtis, yeah, again on that, you'd have to add just the generic RTMP output. And where you send that is up to you, but just be aware that Facebook, I think as per their guidelines, doesn't encourage that. Not just YouTube, it's any built-in other destination except for the generic RTMP destination. So Wirecast, and I'll go back to my screen here. If we go to the output settings at the top here. So you go to the output settings, you'll see this generic RTMP server. I call it generic, it doesn't actually have generic in the word. It just says RTMP server. That's not a company, that's not a Wowza or Facebook or a YouTube. That's just RTMP, which is really just saying that's the streaming format that Wirecast compresses into. So this could be anywhere. You can set up your own. You could use like Adobe's Flash Media Server. It's all kind of RTMP really is kind of created and was overseen by Adobe as their Flash spec. RTMP just stands for Real-Time Messaging Protocol, and that's really just how does the information get broken up and how big are the chunks that get sent of audio and video information and what other types of information is in there. So this could, again, be a Wowza server. It could be anywhere. And in fact, Facebook and YouTube and everybody else that works with Wirecast are accepting RTMP. That's what Wirecast is sending out. It's an RTMP encoder or a Flash encoder. And so it is basically saying you pick where you want to send this, and all you need to do is tell it where is the server that you're sending to. So it could be your home personal Wowza server or some other server that accepts RTMP. And that you've configured. And a lot of sites like Facebook allow you to configure a generic, they'll give you the information and walk you through exactly how to set up and stream to your personal RTMP addresses in your accounts there. So there's ways to use this to stream to Facebook and other sites because they are basically accepting RTMP. You just need to be able to walk through the address. Wirecast just needs it's kind of like a letter that you're addressing. It needs the address of who you're sending it to, where you're sending it, and once you do that, you can send it almost anywhere. And you'll see this one's just a local host, which is really just on my local computer. That's just what's there by default. It's just saying, oh, should I send out locally on your computer here? And you could do that, but it's not really a configured RTMP server right now. Yeah, Marissa, no problem. I hope that's helpful. Okay, you guys. Well, if you had any other questions, please type those in. And, in the meantime, maybe I'll stay on for another few minutes here, and I can just talk a little bit about some of the things that you might want to do as a new person to live streaming. If you are looking to just get started streaming at your school or at your college or institution or in your classroom, you can start real simply by using your phone, right? You can use, the YouTube app, or we have an app called Wirecast Go, which will help you stream to YouTube using your phone. If you want to stream to Facebook, you can use the Facebook app and stream there. So phones are a really easy way to kind of get started. Periscope, things like that. Eventually, you'll probably want to maybe step it up a notch and maybe use a nice microphone or a nice lens, and you can get little kits like that. I did an interview with the live streaming pros in Portland, and this was last Thursday, and we talked at length. They have what's called the 4 tiers of live streaming. So if you imagine tier 1 as just your phone, just you talking, and then tier 2 is you add some nicer microphone or a nice little lens adapter for your phone. Maybe you have some nice lighting. That really can up your production value. And then eventually, maybe you want to go to tier 3. And this time, you really want to be able to do more than just what you can do with a phone. Maybe you want a nice camera, a very nice camera, and a really nice microphone, something that you like a lavalier, or maybe you want 2 cameras, or maybe you want to cut to your desktop and show your screen like we're showing you, or pull in a movie clip and pull in images and do some titles and things like that. So then you could use your computer to do that. It's a very easy way to load up software like Wirecast on your laptop or on your desktop and start configuring a Wirecast document to start switching and mixing between your cameras and your audio and your video, and pulling clips and things like that. So now you're really producing a very more complicated live stream and streaming it out. And then the final fourth tier is what they call kind of the professional tier, which is where you're going out and you're getting a dedicated live streaming machine that's built to live stream, and you've built your system up from the ground up. So that's kind of what we're doing here, where we've really put a lot more work into this. We have a control room studio with a dedicated, very powerful machine for live streaming, and we're running a lot of different equipment. So that's a higher level. So those kind of are the progressions on how you get started. But it's very easy just to get started at the base level for nothing, with just if you have a phone. And then if you want to jump up and start mixing with level on, say, the second or third level, you can add some cameras or some equipment and just use your computer, which is very effective at doing that. There are, of course, some boxes you can get. There's even some cameras that you can buy. I think JVC makes one that's just one. It's just a camera, and it has a zoom and all the stuff you're normally used to seeing on a camera, but it also has a Wi-Fi connection, and it can stream on the Wi-Fi. And so you'd only ever get one camera angle, but it's, some people, that's all they need. You could plug in a microphone, just use the camera. You're not going to be able to add titles or graphics or anything, but it's another good way to start. Similar to using your phone, but maybe with a little more flexibility on your camera controls. So there's lots of different ways to get started. So I recommend maybe just starting with your phone and trying that, or starting with Wirecast on your computer and messing around, adding some cameras, adding some production value, and then sign up for a free account on somewhere like YouTube, like we're streaming now, or Facebook, and start making some test live streams to those and see how that goes. See what you like about YouTube, see what you don't, see what you like about streaming to Facebook, see what you don't. If it's working for you, and if that's going to be a good solution for you, it didn't cost you anything, then you can then build out from there and stream whatever type of content you are wanting to stream, whether it's a classroom lecture or a sports game out on the sports field, or a special graduation or event ceremony, or it's your morning broadcasts with your students for your whole school. And from there, you are kind of getting into it, and you can get further along and refine and adapt and tweak things as you figure out what your needs are and what the needs of your audience are. So that's kind of my recommended tip for just getting started. It doesn't take much because big companies like Facebook and YouTube have made this so easy to access, and for so many, it's a really kind of low barrier to entry. Okay, we have a couple questions. Marissa, you're using Final Cut Pro 10 for video editing. We use that as well here. And is there any means to use the titles and futures of Wirecast in that software? Actually, they're completely different software. So you can pull your Wirecast projects into Final Cut and edit them in there. And we do that. When we record one of these episodes, we often record the whole thing and then pull it into pull it into Final Cut and edit out any things that wouldn't be relevant to someone who was watching later. Or if I make a mistake or there's just some bad technical problem, we can usually clean it up and chop out the awkward parts. And then we upload that. So a lot of the stuff you see on our WirecastTube channel here was edited before it was put or uploaded. This is actually kind of exciting because it's, I think, one of our first official broadcasts on our YouTube live stream now page, which is pretty exciting because normally we stream to our Facebook page. We like that a lot, but we haven't really used the the YouTube one as much. And one of the nice things I like about it is this chat feature, where you can just live interact, and we didn't really have to think too much about setting up a page ahead of time. We just pointed you guys at this channel, WirecastTube /live on YouTube, and you could show up and we can interact with you right away. So it's a real advantage to YouTube. It was very easy to do, and everyone has access to that now if you have a YouTube account. So that is typically how our workflow goes. We'll record this. Now that it's on YouTube already, we may not need to edit it and then upload it. Maybe we'll do the reverse. We'll edit it, then upload it to Facebook. So whichever platform you're not streaming on, but of course you could always pull it down and edit it, then upload a new one later. Both YouTube and Facebook do this nice thing where they record the live broadcast for anyone who wants to watch later. So it's all archived, and you can anyone who missed it can come back and watch it, or it just becomes part of your videos feed. So it's pretty handy, but sometimes that's not to your advantage if you made mistakes or there's things you want to pull out and replace. So then of course you can delete or hide those videos so that general people going to the page can't see them, and you upload an edited version later. So that's one way. The other way is to kind of have this cross-pollination between Wirecast and editing software like Final Cut or Adobe Premiere, is to build your elements like your titles, your graphics, things like that, or other clips or movies that you want to show in your live broadcast. Build those ahead of time in Final Cut and then or Premiere, and then export them as movie files and then play them in Wirecast during your live broadcast. So that's certainly another way to use the two programs together. So it can really go either direction, and they can work very nicely together and give you the advantages of live as well as the advantages of having some time to edit things. Okay, Hero, would Telestream Wirecast team have an internship or hands-on classes about live streaming? It's a really good question. We have, at this time, we do internships, but you'd probably need to travel to one of our locations. We do have offices kind of all over the place, but the main office that that I'm working from and that most of our employees work at is out of California. So if you're willing to come here, then during the summer, maybe we can find an internship. In the meantime, if you want classes or things like that in terms of learning how to live stream better, there's nothing official that we offer. We do have our resources page where we upload tutorials. We of course do the live broadcasts like this one where you can come on and ask questions and we'll teach you how to do things. And then we also have webinars where we do them. So there's a variety of tools and videos that we put out there to help people, but we don't have any formal classes or we don't have a live streaming course or tutorial. There are some out there on the internet that you can find, and you might be able to get some value out of them, but I've never taken them, so I don't know how useful they would be to what you're trying to learn or not. Can I talk about streaming to groups? You recently purchased the upgrade from 6 to 7.1. When trying to stream to Facebook groups that you belong to, not all of them were available under the group setting. So that's a good question. It's specific to Facebook streaming, so it's a little bit more, may not be too relevant here. But we did say you could ask us anything. So I would say my guess is that if you belong to a group, that doesn't necessarily mean you're allowed to stream to a group. So the problem might be in the permissions or the status you have within the group. So if you're an administrator, for example, I would assume no problem. But if you're not an administrator, I don't know at what level Facebook allows you to stream to groups. It could be every level, and in that case, maybe there's just a bug. But if that's not the case, my guess is it has to do with permissions and your account settings as far as what you can do on which groups. Let's see. Would Telestream let's see. That was the last question as far as the internship. Will we have them in the future? Anything's possible. We don't know where the stuff is going, but we definitely, maybe if we saw enough demand, we would be able to develop more official curriculum for this type of stuff. But for now, what we're really doing is we're trying to build it out and just see what people need right now and what types of questions you have. So this, like today, was kind of an experiment to see if you guys would show up and if you had questions. No problem. All right, you guys. I think we've been here about 40 minutes, so it's been a good broadcast. I hope this was valuable for you. If you have any last questions, feel free to type those in. But I think we covered a lot, and I'm really glad, really happy you guys showed up. This has been a lot of fun, and I think we'll do another one, or we'll do more of these in the future. So stay tuned. Meanwhile, if you do have questions, other questions that come up, you can always go to telestream.net and submit a support question. If you're a customer already. If you're not, and you have a sales related question, then you can talk to our sales team. They typically answer those types of questions if you haven't, if you're looking to buy or if you haven't purchased yet. We also have a great community forum for those of you who just want to ask in general questions that may have nothing to do. Maybe you're not planning to buy. Maybe it's just somewhat unrelated, but you want another place you can ask questions about Wirecast or live streaming. That's a good place to go, is our forum, our community forum. You can tweet at us. We're really available all over the place. So wherever you need to go, you can leave a question here on Facebook, on YouTube or on Facebook. We can get to them that way. Please, whatever you need. We're here. We want to help. Our goal is to make sure that anyone who wants to live stream has the ability and the knowledge that they need to succeed. So let us know. And of course, if you're streaming, please send us examples. We always love doing case studies of who's using, who's live streaming and what they're doing with Wirecast out there. It's really fun to learn and see that and share that with other people that want to do the same thing. So we look forward to what you guys come up with and what you do with live streaming. I wish you success in all your endeavors, and we'll see you next time. We'll be on live on Facebook tomorrow, our Telestream Facebook page, interviewing a very experienced live producer named Robert Hicks, and he produces several, I think 6 to 10 live shows a week on Facebook. So he's very experienced with how to stream and what to stream to Facebook. So you might want to tune in there. It's a great place to learn more about that. And in the meantime, we'll see you next time. And thanks for coming. Bye-bye.